Hello my loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts and welcome to another fun and free crochet tutorial. Today I'm excited to introduce you to the Robin Hat and Scarf, a duo that not only honors but also elevates the iconic granny stripe. Y'all know I can't resist those pretty little clusters, and this set proves they can be both functional and fabulous. In this tutorial, I'll start with the beanie, worked top down, and finish with ribbing that'll absolutely knock your socks off. Then we'll move on to the scarf, built with granny squares, finished with a little bit of fringe, and guaranteed to turn heads. And if you're new to crochet, don't worry one bit, darling. This set is entirely beginner friendly. To follow along, grab the free pattern from my blog or the printable PDF version from my shop. Links to both of those resources are down in the description. This project is part of Crochet Academy, which is my free Learn to Crochet program that has graduated over 40,000 makers. We're celebrating 5 amazing years of the program, and you can find all of the past lessons as well as some limited edition merch over in my shop. Links to those also down in the description. Before we dive in, pretty please do me a little favor, hit that like button and then mosey on over to the subscribe. I am dangerously close to 1 million subs and I can't get there without you. Reaching that milestone means I'll be able to share the joy of crochet with even more people, and I would love for you to be part of that journey. Please join the TLYC family and let's keep stitching together. Now with all that business out of the way, let's talk materials. Alrighty loves, let's talk materials. A lot of this stuff you're gonna recognize, but one thing you might not recognize is this yarn. So this is Lion Brand Respun Thick and Quick. It is a 100% recycled polyester, yay for recycled. And actually this yarn is like super nice, nicer than I thought it would be. It's got a nice ropey texture to it, so I think it's perfect for accessories, home goods. I wouldn't necessarily turn this into a garment, but listen, I haven't tried it yet, so let me not knock your hustle, okay? This is really, really nice stuff. It comes in great colors. I'm into this like purple, brown, green era right now, so just bear with me because it's just giving fall. It's giving earthy, it's giving let's go on a hike, so I'm here for it. So I use 6 different colors. All of them are listed in the pattern, so you can take a look at that over on my blog or get a PDF copy from my shop. So you're gonna need 1 skein of each. And as you can see, I still have a whole lot left. I probably could have made 2 entire sets, probably 3 sets of this accessories with just the yarn that I had here. So you're gonna have plenty left over, so you know, whip up one for the whole group chat, why don't you? In addition to the yarn, which is super bulky weight, category 6, so you can swap in whatever you want, of course, you're also going to need a 9mm hook. This one is from Clover. One thing that you'll notice about the Clover hooks is when you get up in size, the hooks turn from metal to plastic. It's a really nice plastic though that I think works really well with synthetic fibers, so I like it for this project. In addition, you're gonna need just your normal crochet supplies, your essentials, scissors, tapestry needle, tape measure, that definitely helps. I also have a rotary cutter out here. This is gonna be helpful when it's time to make the fringe that goes on the bottom of our scarf. But if you don't have a rotary cutter and a self-healing mat, you can just use scissors, some tape, you'll be totally fine. Okay, we got all of our supplies, so let's get started. I think we're gonna dive into the hat first. Let's go. Okay, babes, let's get to it. We're going into the hat body, starting with round 1. So you're gonna grab your first color, and we're going to leave a nice long tail, at least 5 inches. I usually try to do like the length of my hand, and that tends to be enough. And we're going to make a slip knot and chain 4. So yarn over, pull through for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, since this yarn is so chunky, I've opted for this way to work in the round to start. This first chain is going to serve as the center, kind of like the loop of your magic ring. And then these 3 remaining chains are going to stand as our first double crochet. When I did this with the magic ring would not stay closed in a way that I really liked. So I prefer it this way. If you want to do the magic ring or even a chain 4 and join in a ring, you can, however you prefer. But this is what I found works well for this yarn. So we start with a chain 4, and then in the 4th chain from the hook, so the first chain that we made, we're going to place a double crochet. And I like to grab 2 loops of that chain, just like this. So I've got 2 loops on top, 1 loop on bottom. Pull up the loop, complete a double crochet, and that is followed with a chain 1. And now we're going to put 2 doubles followed by a chain 1 in this same spot 5 more times. Okay, So here we go. 1 double crochet, and then 2, followed by a chain 1. So there was 1 time. A little fiddly to get started, just take your time. And 2, followed by a chain 1 for 2 times. Again, into that same spot, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, followed by a chain 1. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. We need 6 groups total. So we have groups of 2 double crochets. We have 4 so far. Let's get to 6. So this is our 5th one. 1 double, 2nd double, followed by a chain 1. There's 5. 1 more time. 1 double and 2, followed by a chain 1. Now we're going to join with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain of that starting chain. So the easiest way I found to find it is, instead of trying to count up the chains, I like to count back from the stitch next to it. So here's the double crochet next to our chain 3. These are the 2 loops at the top of this double crochet. So I know that the stitch next to it is the top of that chain 3. So I'm just going to go into 2 loops of that chain, yarn over, pull through, and now I have all 6 of my groups joined, and since I'm changing color every round, I'm actually going to fasten off this color. So I have my 6 2 double crochet groups separated by a chain 1. Let's move on to round 2. Now for round 2, I'm moving on with my brown color, and I'm going to join with a standing double crochet. And the reason that I'm doing that is just to make this color change feel a little bit more seamless, just really, really clean. So I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook. First thing I'm going to do is yarn over my hook and hold on to that. So keeping tension here, holding on to my tail and holding on the loop that's connected. Now I want to find any chain 1 space. So I'm looking for the spaces between 2 double crochet groups. So I've got a chain 1 space right here, and I'm going to join with a standing double crochet into that space. So I've yarned over my hook. I'm going to dip down into that space, yarn over the hook, pull up a loop. And just like with a double crochet, I have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 of those loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops again. Beautiful. Nice and clean, and it looks exactly like a double crochet because that is what it is. All right, in this same space, we're going to put another double crochet. That's going to be followed by a chain 1, and then we're going to put 2 double crochet into that same spot. So now we have our standing double crochet, 1 double crochet following that, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochet into that space. We're going to follow that with a chain 1. And then in each of our spaces, we're going to put 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles. So here we go. We found our next chain 1 space. So we're going to put 2 double crochet. There's 1 and 2, followed by a chain 1 and 2 more double crochet in that same space. There's 1 and 2. So we're essentially going to do that for each chain 1 space around. So we've got 2 so far. Let's find the next chain 1 space right here. Now, after we complete this group, make sure you do a chain 1 before you go into the next group. So double crochet, there's 1 and 2, followed by a chain 1, 2 more doubles in that same spot, 1 and 2. And then we follow that group with a chain 1, and we go into the next chain space, which is right here. 2 doubles, 1 and 2, chain 1, back into the same space for 2 more doubles, 1 and 2, followed by a chain 1. So we're going to repeat this all the way around. Here we go. And there we go. After we're done making all of our groups, now it's just time to join in the top of this first double crochet. So we're just going to go under the 2 top loops of that double and pull through for a slip stitch. And now we can fasten off. And this is what things look like after round 2. let's move into round 3. So for this next round, we are gonna again work in our chain 1 spaces, but we're gonna be working in every single one of these chain 1 spaces. So find any chain 1 space. I'm gonna jump into, I think maybe this one. Then I can keep all of my tails kind of towards the back of my work. So I'm gonna jump into this chain 1 right here. Okay, I've got my next color. Such a pretty mauve purple. I fell in love with the colors of this yarn. I couldn't wait to use it. Okay, standing double crochet again, yarn over, dip down into the chain 1 space, yarn over and pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again, got our first double crochet, and now we're going to put 2 more doubles into this same spot. So this is where it starts to look like a granny stripe. All right, so 3 doubles into that space, followed by a chain 1. Now we're going to go into the next space, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, followed by a chain 1. Next chain 1 space right here. So we're splitting the groups, right? We're finding all of our chain 1 spaces and putting 3 doubles in there, 1, 2, and 3, followed by a chain 1. 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3, followed by a chain 1. So we're going to repeat this all the way around. Here we go. Last 3 double crochet group goes here. Come on, Mr. Lint, give me a break. All right, followed by a chain 1. I'm going to bring this tail to the back, slip stitch into that first double crochet here, pull through, and now we can fasten off. Lovely. So this is what our work looks like after 3 rounds, right? So this first round we had 2 double crochet groups. This round we had 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and then for this last round we're now working in our granny clusters. So for rounds 4 through 9, we're essentially going to do the same thing again. So let's do round 4 together. All right, I have my color for round 4. Let's go. We're starting off with a standing double crochet just as before. We're going to find any chain 1 space. So since I'm trying to keep my tails towards the back of my work, I'm just going to hop into this chain 1 space right here. Starting with a yarn over, I'm going to insert down into this chain 1 space, pull up the loop, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops again to complete that double crochet, and then I'm going to put 2 more double crochet into that same spot. 1 and 2. Lovely. So we're no longer going to be increasing. Instead, we're going to start building the sides of our hat. So now, instead of going out, it's going to start to come down. After that 3 double crochet group, chain 1, find your next chain 1 space, which is just the space in between clusters. So 3 doubles go here, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, 3 doubles go in the next chain 1 space. There's 1, 2, 3, chain 1, next chain 1 space, 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. And we'll repeat this all the way around. Alrighty, last 3 double crochet group done. I did my chain 1 and now I can join in my first double crochet of the round. Fasten off, because again, we're changing color every round, but as you can see, our project is starting to cup up a little bit and it's becoming a hat. Yay! Okay, so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. You'll want to continue. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It looks like an ornament. Oh my gosh. You'll want to continue until you have 9 total rounds. And then when you fold your hat in half, it'll start to look like a hat, right? So continue till you have 9 rounds. Continue to do all of your color changes and all that good stuff. Meet me back here and we're gonna talk about the setup round of our hat brim. Welcome back, here we go. So this is what our hat looks like so far. And honestly, this is just so stinking cute. I feel like you could put any type of brim on this, but I was in the mood for a super long, thick brim that you could fold up, make it super duper cute. But if you like it like this, throw a cute little brim on there and you can call it good. But if you want to keep going with me, we're going to jump into the hat brim setup round. So first I need to get back to the first double crochet of that previous round. I've got my next color, and again, you can work in whatever colors you want. One color, multiple colors, stripes, you can carry the yarns up. This is your project, do whatever you want, but this is how I wrote it, right? So we're gonna join with a standing single crochet in the very first double crochet of the round. So the first double crochet of the round would have been this standing double crochet right here. To do a standing single crochet, we're gonna put a slip knot on our hook, insert into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up the loop, 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, and there is our standing single crochet. And we're essentially going to put a single crochet in every single stitch and chain space around the bottom of our hat. So here's one in that first double crochet, putting one in the next double, a single in the next double. Now I'm at a chain 1 space. I'm going to dip down into the space, yarn over, pull up a nice tall loop, and complete the single crochet. And I'm going to do that all the way around. So a single crochet in each of these doubles, and a single in the space, a single in each double, and a single in the space. And what this essentially does is even out the bottom of our hat to make it way easier for us to put our brim on, make it a little more seamless looking. It's all about those little details. So a single in each double, and then a single in the chain space. And we'll repeat this all the way around. We're getting to the end of our round here. So a single in each of these doubles. There's the third one, and a single in this space. I'm just gonna move all those tails out the way. And we're gonna finish this up by joining with a slip stitch in this first single crochet of the round. So find the 2 loops there at the top of that single crochet, insert your hook under those 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the stitch and through the loop to complete the slip stitch. Do not fasten off here, okay? We're no longer changing color. We're now going into the brim, which we're gonna use this color for the entire brim. Now we're moving on to row 1 of the brim. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit closer. There we go. And we're gonna start by chaining 13. Make sure you keep these chains relatively loose. It's just gonna help you work into them later. So yarn over, pull through for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now we're gonna be building our brim perpendicular to the hat. So we're going to be working in rows in this direction and joining to the bottom of our hat, so to this setup round at the end of our rows, okay? So let me show you how that'll work. First things first, we're going to yarn over slip stitch in the second chain from the hook and then each chain all the way down. So since we're starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to end up with 12 yarn over slip stitches. Let me show you how those work. So first things first, we yarn over the hook. We're going to find the second chain from the hook. So this loop on our hook does not count as a stitch. Here's our first chain. Here's our second chain. I'm just going to grab the top loop of this second chain from the hook here. So yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, and then through those remaining 2 loops. It's going to be very important to keep these loose or they're going to be quite tricky to work into later. So let's do that again. That's our first yarn over slip stitch, yarn over a hook, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up the loop, and then through the 2 remaining loops. Yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull through, and through the remaining loops. And what this does is give us almost a knit-like texture on the part of our brim that's going to be facing us. So it's just a really nice look to it. If you have a different ribbing that you prefer to use, go for it. Pretty much every part of this hat is customizable, so have a lot of fun with it. So by the time we're done working down this chain, we should have 12 yarn over slip stitches. And I really like to take my time here. Ribbing can be a bit tedious, but it adds just that extra oomph to your project, you know, really takes it right over the edge. All right, so let's give this a count, make sure we have all of our slip stitches. I'm going to count the little V's here at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this makes 12, this last little V here. So we've got all of our slip stitches. And now we're going to slip stitch in the stitch at the base of the chain as well as the next stitch. So here's what I mean. Remember we started our chain here, so we're going to slip stitch into this same stitch right here. So just going under the 2 loops of that single crochet, just a regular old slip stitch, not a yarn over slip stitch. So there's one, and then into the next stitch as well. So we slip stitch into this one, we're going to slip stitch into this one also. And what this does is anchor the ribbing to the hat. Now we need to turn our work and move on to row 2. So I'm going to turn my work just like this. I've got my ribbing still facing me. I'm going to skip the 2 slip stitches that I made here. So 1 and 2, skipping these, working in this one, starting in just the back loop only. We're going to do regular old slip stitches. So I'm going to insert into just the 1 loop of the back loop, yarn over, pull through the stitch and through the loop that's on my hook. And again, keeping this relatively loose. Back loop of the next stitch, yarn over and pull through both loops. Insert, yarn over, pull through both loops. So this is just a regular slip stitch all the way down here. And slip stitch. Now I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to use to keep the edge of my slip stitch rows neat. You do not have to do this, but you certainly can. So when I get to my last stitch of my slip stitch, which is right here, typically we'd go through just the back loop, but it's going to leave this loop open and sometimes that can look a little bit sloppy. So instead, for this edge stitch here, I actually like to go under both loops of the stitch, yarn over and complete the slip stitch. So that is row 2. Now let's move on to row 3. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work again, and I'm ready to work down in this direction. So now we're going to get back into our yarn over slip stitches. So I'm going to yarn over. Since this is the edge stitch, again, I like to go through both loops of that edge stitch right here and complete my yarn over slip stitch. And now I'm going to jump back into just doing the back loop of my stitches for my yarn over slip stitches all the way down. So yarn over, find the back loop, which is this one right here. Insert into that back loop, yarn over, pull up the loop, and pull through the remaining loops on the hook. Yarn over, insert through the back loop, pull up a loop, and pull through the remaining loops on the hook. Insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, insert, pull up the loop, and pull through. So that's a yarn over slip stitch. Sometimes you'll see it called a half double slip stitch. They're the same thing. You just do a slip stitch, but start with a yarn over first. Sometimes us crocheters can overcomplicate things, but this is the simplest way that I've seen it done and explained. Yarn over slip stitch all the way down. And again, we should have 12 by the time that we're done. I think I've got one more here, but I'm going to give this a count because for some reason, ribbing stitches tend to run away from me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got them all. All right, so now we need to anchor our piece to our hat again. So we're going in this direction. So these 2 have already been worked. So we find our next 2 stitches here at the base of the hat. Working under both loops of that stitch, I'm going to complete a slip stitch in the first one and a slip stitch in the one after that. Now I can turn my work and repeat row 2, skipping these 2 slip stitches here. We're going to start here, working in just the back loop, insert yarn over and pull through, insert yarn over and pull through. Just like that. So regular slip stitches on the way back. And personally, I really like to do the ribbing on a flat surface because it makes it easier to soften my tension. Because I don't have to worry about holding the hat. I can just hold on to the ribbing and keep those slip stitches nice and loose. And once again, when I reach this edge stitch here, I'm going to grab both loops, the front and back loop of that stitch. So insert under both, yarn over, and pull through. And again, it just gives us a really clean edge on the bottom here. It's whatever you prefer though. So we're going to repeat these 2 rows all the way around our work. And we can already see we're getting a really nice looking ribbing happening here. It's so pretty, so worth the effort. So keep going all the way around. Meet me at the end and I'll show you how to clean everything up. Alrighty, a couple episodes of Celebrity Jeopardy later, and I am finally finishing up my brim here. I just have 2 little stitches left. There we go. And we're finishing with a row 3 repeat. So my last step is to anchor this to my hat, just like so. And now I'm ready to fasten off and I can whip stitch my ribbing closed. So I want to leave a nice long tail. What I usually like to do is measure out the length of the seam 3 times with my yarn. So my yarn is here. So I'm measuring out 1, 2, 3, a little bit more for good measure. Can't hurt. And we can fasten off. So now I'm going to pull my loop up and out of my work. I'm going to need my tapestry needle, and I'm going to thread my tail onto my tapestry needle. And at this point, I'm going to whip stitch these ends together. So this is what our ribbing looks like at this point. Really pretty. This is actually the inside of the ribbing, and this will be the outside of the ribbing if we've got it folded up. So now we'll look to the back here. We're skipping these 2 slip stitches, of course, and then we're going to start here, working under both loops and grabbing both loops of the stitch on the other side as well. There we go. And we're just going to whip stitch this closed. So this seam is going to be on the inside of our hat, but we still want to be meticulous about seaming this together. Let me bring you a little closer so you can see exactly where my stitches are going. So I'm inserting under 1 on this side and then catching the corresponding stitch on the other side. Just giving that a little tug to keep that seam flat. All right, just a couple stitches left. And then our edge stitch, grabbing both loops and then both loops of that last stitch here. And as I get here, I'm also going to tie a little knot. So I'm just going through the loop that I had and pull through. Since this is going to be the inside of my hat, I'm now going to weave the ends in on this side, just going under the same exact loops of my whip stitch seam, making sure my needle stays on the inside of my work, just like that. And with this thick of yarn, that should be plenty. You can go back over it if you want to. Seam in your ends however makes you feel good. Seam in or weave in the rest of the ends from the inside of the hat as well. Then we can fold up this brim. Oh my gosh. Hold up. You got to get the full effect. This thing is so stinking cute. I love it. And you can roll up the brim as high as you like. We've got a lot of brim here, right? It's a pretty big hat. So if you roll it all the way up, you can wear it a little bit more like a skull cap. If you roll it down a little bit, you can wear it slouchy, whatever feels good to you. If you're feeling frisky, go ahead, throw a pom-pom on there. You'll have plenty of yarn for it, right? Okay, so now that we've got our hat done, of course we need a matching scarf. So let's get into this gorgeous fringy granny square scarf. Let's go. To make our scarf, the very first step is making all of these lovely granny squares. Now you are going to make 13 total squares. I'm going to demo 1 and then I have my others ready to go for the rest of this sample. You're going to make 13 total squares and then we're going to join them end to end. So let me show you how to do that. Grab your first color. And just like with our hat, instead of starting with a magic ring, we're going to start with a nice long tail, make a slip knot, and chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, since this is such chunky yarn, this is, again, my preference for how I like to do granny squares with yarn this thick, but you can use whatever method you prefer. It's totally up to you. So these 3 chains are going to serve as my first double crochet, and this last chain here is going to be the center of my squares that I'll work all of my stitches into. So here we go. I'm going to grab 2 loops of this first chain. And what I mean by that is I'll have 2 loops of the chain above my hook and 1 loop of the chain below my hook. I'm then going to yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and 2 again to make my next double crochet. And then I'm going to put 1 more there. Okay. So now I have my starting chain 3, 2 more doubles. I'm going to follow that with a chain 2. And now I'm going to complete the rest of the double crochets for my center. So I need to do 3 groups of 3 double crochets followed by a chain 2. So here's 1, here's 2. Oh, it's always a little fiddly to start. But once you get past this magic ring here situation, gets a lot easier. So there's my 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3, followed by a chain 2. So there's 1 set. I need to do 2 more. There's 1, 2, and 3 doubles, followed by a chain 2. And then 1, 2, 3 doubles, followed by a chain 2. So after I've got all 4 sets of my 3 doubles followed by a chain 2, I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain of this tall chain 3 here. Now I like to find the next double crochet, get those 2 loops at the top, and then I know if I go to the one next to it, that's going to be the top of my chain 3. So right here, I'm going to insert under 2 loops of that chain, yarn over, pull through the stitch, and then through the loop that's on my hook to complete the slip stitch. So there is the center of my granny square. I can now fasten off, and I am done with this color. I'm going to move on to this nice silvery shade, and then I'm going to make a slip knot because I'm going to join with a standing double crochet, and you can join in any chain 2 space. So I'm going to go to this one because it's just nice and clean. I don't have any tails coming out of it. I'm going to put my slip knot on my hook, yarn over, and I'm going to hold on to that yarn over with my finger here. I'm going to dip down into that chain 2 space, pull up the loop, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops again for a standing double crochet. Now from here, I'm going to put 2 doubles, 1 and 2, into that same space. I'm going to chain 1, and now I'm going to go to the next space and work what's essentially a corner, which is 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3 doubles, right? Followed by a chain 2 and 3 more doubles in that same spot. 1, 2, and 3. And that is going to be followed by a chain 1. Now we're going to go into the next corner. Same thing, 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2 to turn the corner, 3 more doubles in that same spot. 1, 2, 1 more, makes 3. Chain 1, following corner, same thing. 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2 to turn the corner. 3 more doubles in the same spot. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Now to finish up this corner here, right? We already have 3 doubles. So we're going to put 3 more doubles. 1, 2, and 3, and follow that with a chain 2. And now we can join in the top of this first double crochet of the round. Just like that. Beautiful. Round 2 is complete. Don't you just love how quickly super bulky yarn crochets up. It just makes me so happy. All right, our third and final round of our granny square, we're going to join with a standing double crochet in any chain 2 space. So our chain 2 spaces are our corners. So once again, I'm going to just move in this direction. I'm going to go with this really pretty green. Oh, this square is going to be gorgeous. All right. Again, I'm making a slip knot, placing that on my hook. You can see I leave nice long tails for my slip knots. I used to leave really short tails, which were harder to weave in. So just give yourself a little slack. You've got plenty of yarn. Go ahead and use it. Standing double crochet here in a corner chain 2 space with 2 more doubles here. 1 and 2. We follow that with a chain 1, and now we're going to go into this chain space here. So here along the side of our work, 3 doubles go here. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Now we're going to move on to our next corner, and just like before, that gets 3 doubles. There's 2 and 3, followed by a chain 2 and 3 more doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And this is followed by a chain 1 before we proceed to our next chain 1 space, which gets just 3 doubles. So you want to continue this around. So 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles in the corner, and then just 3 doubles on the side here. And those groups are always followed by a chain 1. And we've reached the end of our round here. So we're going to put 3 doubles into the same spot as where we joined. There's 2 and 3. That's followed by a chain 2 for the corner, and then slip stitch in the first double crochet of the round to close it all up. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. I can't get over it. I just love a granny square. All right, so there is my granny square. I'm going to take a moment to weave in these ends, come back, and I'm going to show you how we'll seam these all together. Our next step is to seam these squares together. So the squares are seamed end to end in just one column, right? So we've got this nice long strip of granny squares, and these should be about 6 inches a piece, which I think is perfect for this scarf. So here's the square we just finished, and we're going to add it to this end of our scarf. The reason that I wanted to show you this before we start seaming together is we're going to be using the mattress stitch seam, which involves collecting stitches from each side and creating this really clean, like kissed join, right? Like, look at that. Look how seamless that is. It's just beautiful. Like they're sitting right next to each other. Now, what I did want to show you is when you're doing your mattress seam over granny squares, folks will typically just work, right? We did 2 chains in the corner. Folks will usually just grab the chain closest to the side that we're working for your mattress seam. Now, I like to grab both of the corner chains, and I'm going to show you the difference. So for this seam, I grabbed just the corner that is closest to the side that I'm seaming, but you can see it gives us a little bump. It leaves like a little opening, a little bump here on the side. Whereas with this one, I grabbed both of the chains on the corners, and you can see it's a much cleaner, straighter seam, and it gives us a straighter line here across the top. We're also going to block this, so when I open this up to block it, it'll make it nice and flat along the top, whereas here, I'll still kind of have a little bit of a bump. Okay, so that's why I'm showing you that. And you're going to be like, Tony, why am I grabbing extra chains here? That's why. All right, so you want to pull a length of yarn for your seam, and you'll want that length of yarn to match one of the colors of the either side of the squares that you're seaming together. You'll pretty much not be able to see this, but if you look at it from the back here, since I used the same color, you can't tell that I used purple on this seam because this square is purple. You can't tell I used brown on this seam because this square is brown. But if you see right here, that brown is poking through a little bit. So if I use like the silver, for example, it would be just a little bit more obvious. So I'm using the green, same color as the last round on my last square. These nails, I'm telling you. Okay, so I'm going to thread my tapestry needle. I'm going to bring you closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And we're going to mattress stitch seam these together. So I'm going to turn that a little bit. I'm left-handed, right? So I got to turn things to the side, kind of cock it to the side a little bit. Okay, so let's find the 2 chains here on the corner. So if I look at this double crochet right here, if I trace it up, this is the V on top of that double crochet. So I know I need to start here. So this is the V of one of the chains and this is the V of the other chain. So I'm going to go down in just the back loop, the inside loop of that chain, and pull it through, leaving a bit of a tail. And then I'm going to find that same chain on this side. So I'm going to trace up this double crochet. So this is the V of that double crochet. So I know this is the V of my first chain. This is the V of my second chain. So I'm going to go down, catching just the back loop, my left-handed self, of that square, and pull through. And just kind of bring them close. They don't have to, we're not pulling it just yet. All right. Now we're going to go down into that same back loop and come up in the back loop of the next chain. Just like this. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Go down that same back loop and come up the back loop of the following chain. And pull just a little bit. Now we're going to go down the back loop of that chain we just came out of and up the back loop of the following stitch. Keep that tail out the way. And the same thing over here, going down the back loop of this chain, coming up the following stitch. Just catching the one loop of that back loop of that stitch and pull it through. So now that I've caught a few stitches, I'm going to hold my 2 corner spaces as well as my tail here, and I'm going to start pulling this gently to pull this seam together. And then I'll pull a little from the other side. And now they're connected, right? We're in there. Okay, continuing this mattress seam, going down the stitch we came out of and up the next stitch, down and up, down and up. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Down and up. And we'll do this for a few stitches and then we pull. Don't let it go too far. Otherwise, it'll be really hard to pull and your seam will start looking a little sloppy. Okay? Pull it nice and gentle until the yarn doesn't give anymore and then let it go. Don't over tighten it or you're going to have a puckered seam. And right here. Yeah. So your stitches should match up. You can see there I kind of lost where we were. So I'm going down in this first stitch and up the middle stitch of this cluster. So I should be going down the first stitch and up the middle stitch of this cluster. So now I'm reaching towards the end of my seam. So I'm working through the third stitch of this cluster and up the first of my 2 chains. I'm going to then close that, and then to finish, I'm going to go down into this chain, up on the next one, down this chain, up on the next one. And that's what gives us that nice clean, look how flat that gets. Oh, it's so good. I love a good seam. Sorry, forgive me. Okay, now to finish this off, I like to just grab a couple loops off this side to really bring that together. And now I'm going to flip it to the back and weave in this end. So we're going to want to weave the end into a like color. Just like this. Don't over tighten that seam. And then again, I'm going to go up this way, just to make sure that tail is nice and secure. And I'm going to weave in this other tail as well. Just like before, I'm going to kind of tighten that a bit, grab a couple loops of my pink on this side, just to make sure everything is hooked together. Then I can flip to the back and weave that end in to a light color. Making sure I don't over tighten that seam. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. At this point, I do recommend steam blocking your scarf. For mine, I laid it out flat on my blocking boards and I put pins here at the corners to stretch them out just a little bit, again, to just get this as straight as possible. So I put pins in the corners and then pins on the seams to stretch them out a little bit. And after that, it'll be time to do some fringe. Now the fringe is completely optional, but I ended up with so much yarn left and I just think this looks absolutely adorable. So take a look at the colors on the end of yours. If you made yours exactly like mine, this is what your fringe will look like. But on this one, I've got brown on one side and green on the other side. So I'm going to cut 26 10-inch lengths of yarn, and then we're going to go ahead and put our fringe on. So we're going to work with just the brown side for our tutorial. You're going to grab a length of your yarn, fold it in half, and then with your crochet hook, I like to start in the middle. It's just a little easier for me. I'm going to insert, so we've got 13 stitches along here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, counting our chain 1 spaces. So I'm going to start right here in the middle, grab one of my stitches. I'm coming up from the bottom with my crochet hook, loop it over the hook, pull it through the loop, and then pull the tails through the remaining loop, just like that. Really, really simple. Nothing too crazy about this fringe. And again, this is completely optional, but I think it adds just a really nice polishing touch to it. And pull it through. Same thing for the chain spaces. I'm just going to go into the space. Do I have all my, oh, I've got a stitch here. Make her tassel. There you go, girl. It's like she's getting her hair done. And now I'm going to go into this space and place a tassel as well. So I'm going to place tassels all the way across. And for my fringe, I'm only going to put a tassel on the inside chain, not the outside chain here. So keep putting your tassels on. And once you're done, I'm going to show you how we're going to soften these all up and then trim them really easily. The fringe has been applied and it looks good. You could leave it like this, but listen, I am the queen of doing the absolute most. So I am pulling out my self-healing mat as well as my garment steamer. And we're going to steam this fringe real good. So this is a new garment steamer. I had the same one for years and I actually left my old garment steamer at a photo shoot, so I had to upgrade. So this one's a Conair. You can find it linked down in the description if you don't have a garment steamer already. So now I'm going to hit this little steam button and I'm just going to lightly hit this with some steam. And as I go, I'm going to just even out these strands a bit. So by this point, your scarf should already be steamed. But we're going to steam out this fringe to get it nice and flat so we can trim it. And since this is recycled polyester, it takes incredibly well to steam. You can see it smooths right on out there. Beautiful. All right. Fringe is steamed, looking good. Now we're going to trim it. Oh, I actually have this upside down. Let's flip this the right way. There we go. Sort that out again, and I'm going to line up the bottom of my scarf with this little line that says 8 right here. Just like that. And now I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to measure out 4 inches. So from the 8, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 inches here. Kind of bring that fringe together, make sure it's all laying nice and pretty. And I'm going to lay that along this 4 line. So this is going to give me 4-inch fringe. Make sure it's nice and even. There we go. 4-inch fringe. Is it scientific? No. Listen, we're crafters, not scientists. Let's not get too particular about these things, okay? Here we go. So now I'm just going to take my rotary cutter and I'm going to give it a trim. Alrighty, here we go. So I've got my rotary cutter. Safety is off. I'm going to press down on my ruler here and just very carefully, so I don't jump it and cut my dang on finger off. I'm going straight through that fringe. It literally could not be any easier. Lift up my ruler and watch it. The most satisfying part. Oh, look at that fringe. It's like a perfect little blunt cut 4 inches, not too long, not too short, and I think it looks so cute on here. And at this point, you'll just want to repeat that for the other side, and you've got a perfectly beautiful scarf that matches your perfectly beautiful hat. I really hope you enjoyed making this with me, and if you did, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I have dozens of amazing tutorials just like this, beginner friendly. Use yarn that you have and just have a whole lot of fun stitching with me. Make sure you share this video with somebody that you really, really like, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. See you later. Bye.